Have you ever wondered how exactly Advanced Nurturing High School chose their students and separated them into 4 different classes? You might wonder why people like Hirata or Koenji could end up in Class D, while people like Sakaya Nagi or Komuro were put in Class A. The reason might be simple, but could become complicated if we try to think deeper about it. First, let's remember how the school picks their students.
ANHS uses a very different system to pick their students. There are entrance exams and interviews, but that is just a disguise and means nothing because they will decide their students by contacting junior high administrators. ANHS took student records from middle school and used them to determine if they deserved placement or not. They use different kinds of assessments. Academic record is just one of them. However, there are a lot of applicants from all over the country. How did they manage to pick exactly 160 students? One thing that always bothers me is how they manage to keep the entire school system as a secret. Turns out there are no alumni who ever leak it to the internet or tell their relative who will enroll in the school. I guess every student who leaves the school needs to sign a confidentiality contract with the school. Either they graduate or get expelled. To keep the secret further, the school must be very picky in choosing their students. For example, they will not accept students who have relations with alumni, just to make sure they don't know about the school system. For example, if a student graduates and their younger brother chooses to enroll next year, the school will just abandon him. The case with Horikita siblings is not considered a problem because they only separated for 2 years, and Manabu has no chance to tell her sister anything. So far in the series, the only one who has relations with school members is just Sakayanagi Risu, and I guess we could trust Chairman Sakayanagi to keep the secret. With no connection with alumni as a condition, the number of applicants must be decreased greatly. After that, the school need to choose 160 students and divide them in for class. This is where things got complicated. According to Chabashira, the competition between classes used to be more balanced. There was not that much difference between Class A and Class D. However, after the school expands their assessment, they start to accept students like Sudo or Yamochi and put them in Class D, causing Class D to fall more and more. They said Class D is filled with a bunch of defects, but the school still chose them because they believe they have value and could be fixed as long as they were given a chance, which sadly never happened before Ayanokoji came to school. A defect could mean low academic score, but that's not always the case. Students like Hirata and Kushida were put in Class D because they have troubled pasts, despite their high academic and social skills. I believe the school intentionally put some capable students in Class D to balance the scale. If we look closely, Class D that we know is actually full of potential. There are Horikita and Yukimura, who are in the top 5 in terms of academics, Kushida and Hirata who are in the top 3 in social skills, and Sudo who has the best physical record in OAA. Looking at this fact, I guess Class D is actually an experiment of the school to see if the defects could cover each other's weaknesses and aim for the higher class. If not, then why do they create the entire class just to make them suffer? Each student in Class D has their own problem. However, how about the other class? How was Ryuin put in Class C even though his behavior was way worse than Sudo? And how was Kemuro put in Class A even though Hiyori deserved that spot more than her? The reason might be simple: balance. In Advanced Nurturing High School, they nurture their students with competition known as a special exam. If they just put all their best students in Class A, it will not become a competition but just a one-sided massacre. That's why they also put some mediocre students in Class A, so Class A still has some weak points that other classes could exploit. Students like Yuhiko and Komuro were placed there to slow them down. However, even if they are below average for Class A, they are still better than most students in Class D. They could be placed in Class B or Class C, but they got lucky and were placed in Class A. Even though I said lucky, it doesn't rule out the possibility that there was some unexpected reason for their placement. They were lucky, so there must be some student that got the bad luck. Let's take Hiyori for example. Hiyori has a very good academic record and has no troublesome behavior. She didn't have a lot of friends, but that doesn't mean she avoided social interaction. In fact, she wanted to have more friends, especially reading friends. She also has good judgment and leadership. Compared to Komuro, It's clear that Hiyori was more suitable to be placed in Class A. Komura doesn't have a good grade, avoids people, and has a kleptomania tendency. She should be the one who was put in Class C, while Hiyori in Class A. In fact, Morishita, who is also in Class A, has a similar statistic as Hiyori. Hiyori got bad luck and was placed in the same class as Ryuen. Speaking of Ryuen, he should be placed in Class D because he is a famous delinquent, just like Kazuo Mihozen. However, because Class D already has a few potential leaders, he was finally placed in Class C. There are a few students who have similar ability and personality, and yet placed in a different class. Kiryuin and Koenji were often said to be very similar, but Koenji was placed in Class D while Kiryuin was placed in Class A. There is also a special case like Ayanokoji, who was put in Class D so he could have a normal life. Once again, the reason is to maintain balance. There is still a lot of things we didn't know about the school system, and we also didn't know much about side characters' past. We might see more of this in the third year arc. Even if we don't, it might be better to leave the mystery as it is.